everyone. This video is made for our Crucial Conversations practice group to walk you through the framework so you can join our next session ready to practice. Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High, is a best-selling communication and leadership book first published in 2002 by researchers and corporate trainers with roots in organizational behavior and leadership development. They found that the successful people that they were researching had one key ability. They could stay in dialogue when stakes, emotions, and opinions were high. They were able to speak up and resolve conflict under pressure, while others would shut down or somehow make things worse. I'm interested in this because it's not just communication training, it's emotional self-leadership and self-awareness. It's a growth that affects all the most important aspects of my life. So let's begin. A conversation becomes crucial when three things come together: high stakes, strong emotions, and opposing opinions. When our bodies are tense and our hearts race and our words start to matter the most. And ironically, that's often when we handle them the worst. We might tend to go one of two suboptimal directions: silence or violence. Silence can look like withdrawing, avoiding, sarcasm, or pretending to agree when we don't. And violence can look like blaming, interrupting, controlling, or attacking. Either way, connection breaks and understanding disappears. The first skill is to learn to look. Notice when a conversation starts to feel unsafe, in you or in the other person. That's your signal to slow down and restore safety and not to try to push your point. Notice what your body does when the stakes rise. A tight chest, shallow breathing, a raised voice. That's your body telling you it's unsafe. You can't solve a high stakes problem from a flooded brain, the amygdala hijacking. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and return to curiosity before continuing. When emotions rise, our brains often present what the authors call the fool's choice. We think we must either speak up and cause harm or stay silent and keep the peace. And that's a false choice. The real skill is to be both honest and kind, both candid and caring. We don't have to choose between truth and relationship. With practice, we can have both. The goal of every crucial conversation is dialogue, the free flow of meaning between two or more people. When we're in dialogue, we're adding to what the authors call the pool of shared meaning. That's where understanding deepens, decisions improve, and relationships strengthen. When people feel heard, they relax. When the pool is full, everyone makes wiser choices. When dialogue starts to shut down, don't push harder, like I just said. Make it safe again. We do that in two ways: by rebuilding mutual purpose and restoring mutual respect. Mutual purpose means we care about the same overall outcome. Mutual respect means we value each other as people, even when we disagree. Safety first, content second. Sometimes we also need to get unstuck. That means stepping back to ask, what level of conversation am I really in? Is this about the content, like the specific issue? For example, my child left his socks on the couch. Or is it about a pattern, something that keeps happening? My child left his socks on the couch every afternoon this week. Or is it about the relationship and how we treat each other? My child left his socks on the couch because he must be taking for granted that I'll play the role of the housekeeper. When you name the level, you start solving the right problem. Identifying which level of conversation you need to address also helps with repeated conversations that haven't resolved yet. It's probably a mismatched conversation level. It's obviously best if we can address the content before it becomes a pattern and address the pattern in a healthy respectful way before it starts to reflect on the relationship dynamic. So, how can we start this conversation? Before you even speak, pause and get your heart right. Tease out what you really want out of this conversation. Ask yourself, what do I really want for me? What do I really want for them? And what do I really want for this relationship? If your motive is to win, punish, or avoid the conversation will follow that energy. If your motive is to connect and understand, that energy will guide your words. Now for the revolutionary part of this process, we need to get clear about what stories we are telling ourselves about the situation. In nonviolent communication, this is called observations versus judgments. In crucial conversations, they just call this story. Our emotions come not directly from what happens, but from the story we tell about what happens. For example, your child is doing something you just told him not to do. You tell yourself he's ignoring you because he disrespected you. So you feel angry and maybe acted out in a certain way. The whole moment where you interpreted what you saw as having a certain meaning is where we need to short circuit our patterned behavior. If we can change the story, we can change the feeling, and our actions change too. So ask yourself, what story am I telling? What else could be true? What would a generous interpretation look like? Sometimes we fall into what the book calls clever stories. These 3 stories are victim stories, it's not my fault. Villain stories, it's all their fault. Helpless stories, there's nothing I can do. It's a lot like the drama triangle, persecutor, victim, rescuer, which is helpful in raising the vibrations of your relationships in general and transforming it into the empowerment triangle of the challenger, creator, and coach. But that's a slightly different story. For crucial conversations, when you catch one of the stories of victim, villain, or helplessness, we have some antidotes to complete the story with. When interpreting the story as a victim, ask, what am I pretending not to notice about my role? When interpreting the story character as a villain, ask, why would a reasonable person act that way? And when interpreting the story with the helplessness lens, ask, what could I do right now to move forward? Owning your part shifts you into a state of curiosity. Once you're centered and safe, use the state skills to express yourself clearly and safely. STATE stands for share the facts, tell your story, ask for others' paths, talk tentatively, and encourage testing. First, share the facts, what a camera would see. Then tell your story humbly, what those facts mean to you. Ask for the other person's path, invite their version. Talk tentatively, not as if you're certain, but as if you're open. And encourage testing. Welcome the disagreements and new data. This keeps dialogue flowing instead of turning into debate. After you've shared your path, explore theirs. Ask questions like, can you help me understand what led you there? Or, what's most important to you right now? When people feel safe to share their perspective, you begin to see the full picture. Once safety and understanding are restored, that's a nice conversation, but let's move to action. Agree on who will do what and by when, and how you'll follow up. And in the book Crucial Conversations, they say, not every decision has to be by consensus. You can decide by command, consult, vote, or full agreement, and to just be clear about which method you're using. In our practice group, we are going to self-reflect, dive deeper, and role-play real or imagined conversations. We might explore other frameworks too, like nonviolent communication and authentic relating. We have to practice all of these because they aren't just ideas, they're habits. They take repetition and reflection. So to summarize, Notice when stakes, emotions, and opposing views collide. Watch for silence or violence. Get your heart right before you speak. Separate facts from stories. Make it safe with mutual purpose and mutual respect. Share your path with honesty and curiosity. Explore others' path with empathy and openness, and always move toward action. This framework is great. It helps us think better, more clearly, and stay grounded in compassion and truth. We will learn to stay grounded to make talking safe again and to turn a potential conflict into a jumping off point for deeper connections. The authors remind us the biggest mistake isn't handling crucial conversations poorly. It's not realizing you're in one until it's too late. Now we can recognize them sooner and stay calm under pressure and build trust where it matters most. So welcome to the Practice Circle if you're going to join us, and I'm excited to see how we grow together with these skills and put them to action. Thank you.